Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jared Barnes, co-founder of the Athlete Development Lab, a community for sports tech professionals. Incredibly excited to come to you live this afternoon with Mr. Cameron Lynch. Cameron is a NFL legend, native of Southern California, but grew up in the Georgia area. Went on to go play college football at Syracuse University, and then had a phenomenal career in the NFL for the Los Angeles Rams and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just so happened to be in the Super Bowl this week. Cam, pleasure to see you here. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Man, I don't even know where to start. Your background is phenomenal, right? Not only as an athlete, but more importantly, what you've done off the field with your platform and launching a media company called Heartwork Media, and just some phenomenal work you've done on the production side. And then even in sports broadcasting, where you've been able to be a color commentator, man, it's been just awesome to get to know you. Awesome to have you as a member of the lab. But really, really excited to not only share your story this afternoon, but really dive into what you're doing now, right? And you have this incredible role now within the NFL League office, working in the player marketing and player engagement department. So excited to unpack that. But man, just to start, to kick us off this afternoon, what does it mean to you to work for the NFL League office as a former player? And has your perspective of the league changed, or sports in general, since working in the front office?
Yeah, Jared, I appreciate that fire introduction. And yeah, it's been interesting, man. You get to see a lot of the behind the scenes, kind of what goes into the game. A lot more respect for the people, behind the game as well. I wish I could bring some folks in with me, like, hey, look, like this person's working hard on your behalf. This person's working hard on your behalf. So it's really cool to see. And as information breaks, right, kind of like the situation with the Seahawks player, you get that type of information. You kind of you get to hear and you get to understand the process, right, for a situation like that, kind of how to deal with it. So it's been really cool to do, and we get to speak to people that are the best of the best that work at the NFL. So it's an honor for sure.
Man, it's a whole different world when you see behind the scenes, right? It's one thing to be on the field as a player in the locker room experiencing it, but you just have that greater level of appreciation when you see the layers and the number of stakeholders involved. So I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And honestly, with all the twists and turns throughout this year in the 2020, 2021 NFL season, NBA season, MLS season, MLB, right? College sports, it's just been crazy. What has stood out to you the most, just in your seat now, working in the league office? What has stood out to you the most, whether that be things happening on the field or even from a business perspective?
So yeah, what stood out to me the most, I think, you know, seeing the different leagues, right, respond to all the things that have been going on. And it's really cool to see the NBA, right, how they have done a great job in when it comes to Black lives, when it comes to anything really, like they do a great job of getting out in front of it and leading the way there for a change, being a catalyst for a change. And it's nice also to see the NFL and speak to the folks that are working for the NFL to see kind of what they are doing to, I want to say to match the NBA, but to surpass the NBA, right? Because the NBA, that they're like top dog when it comes to change and being innovative. So the NFL just playing in it and working in it. We have some catching up to do, but it's nice to work in it and see like, okay, yeah, we are working to get there. So it's been awesome.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. There's so many different moving parts, and honestly, during your playing career, did you feel that? Did you see that, or were you really focused and honed in just on your craft, just on being the best athlete you possibly could be?
Yeah, I think really when Colin Kaepernick took the knee, right? That's when I started to open my mind up like, wait, we gotta change some things around here. So that was an eye-opening experience for me. And that's when I really started to pay attention. At first, it was like, okay, let's make the team. Let's make sure you don't go home the next day, right? And I played for 4 years undrafted. So the things that I worry about or I worried about at the time were a lot different than a guy who was been drafted. And, like Todd Gurley and I are in the same class, like his issues were a little bit different than mine. So, but I think I always had a wide lens, regardless undrafted or not. I always had a wide lens. Always was looking ahead. And
Did
so,
you always have that wide lens, or was that something that inherently, you developed just based on your journey into the league, or even in your time at Syracuse in college?
yeah, I believe I always had that wide lens. Just starting off at high school, right? Like AP classes, honors classes. Like I took my education serious, so I did things that were different than the average athlete. So I was always looking like, hey, if this something stops here, what's that next step? And so now it's really nice to be retired and to like look ahead, but also like look sideways to and around me, like, oh, okay, we got to fix this, this, and this, right? And especially when it comes to social issues. Even while playing in college, like when it comes to social issues, I don't think, us as athletes, we were fully aware of those things and we're advocates for it like we should have been. And now that I'm retired, it's like, all right, Black Panther, let's get going.
Just to dive into that a little bit deeper, what have you seen? Obviously, there's been a ton of pivots and a ton of changes and adjustments due to COVID this year, especially with activations and events happening around the Super Bowl, exactly why we're doing this virtually, this year. But what type of activations or things have you seen go on this week leading up to the Super Bowl?
Really, the lab. You know what I mean? The lab has been the one that's been jumping so far for me. And also, too, I know for for Pro Bowl week, right? They're doing a versus event, and I thought that was really cool. Some of the creative teams thought of that, and the versus battle really stems from just rappers going artists. I would say going back and forth and highlighting their favorite track. So what's going to be exciting about this year is some of the world's greatest athletes are going to be comparing some of their best plays, some of their best outfits, whatever it is. But I think that's going to be really cool. It's going to be done virtually, which is going to be awesome. Everybody can stay healthy, but still get great content.
And just yourself, even working for the player marketing team, where do you really see this field of athlete marketing, or rather, I almost coin it as athlete influence, and it's just being able to hone and channel that influence. Where do you really see it going in the future?
To be honest, with technology, with this virtual space, I see it exploding, right? Because think about it, like the digital space, that's your new resume, especially your LinkedIn, especially your Instagram, your Twitter. People are going to open or close doors based off of what's being marketed out there. So I think it's going to be extremely important for players, younger players, and even the legends, right, to market themselves really well, to show people that, hey, I can get this done or I can get this done. And I'm not afraid to speak out against domestic violence. I'm not afraid to speak out against the atrocities that are going on within the Black community in America. So it's going to be extremely important, especially moving forward. The Gen Z, like the young folks of our generation and the generation before us, they're not playing games, Jared. And so it'll be nice it'll be nice to inform, support, empower these young folks as they grow up, because their platform is going to be even bigger than our ancestors were.
And that's a great transition, man. You talk about the role that sports has played in empowerment, the role that has really become this catalyst for change and a catalyst for a movement. And obviously yourself as a proud alum of Syracuse University, you were very active just during the social justice movement over the past year or so, really. Would love for you to share just about your involvement with that and what, in a sense, the platform of being a former NFL player and the platform and power of sports has really meant to you.
Yeah, we feel heard now, right? As alumni, we feel heard. And so really after George Floyd passed, I think everyone in America was startled, was shaken up, because it went viral. And back in the day, like this been happening, right? This situation with Black men get killed by policemen, right? This has been happening. So to see it hit social media and to see it, that whole 8 minutes and 46 seconds, everybody was like, okay, we got to do something. And so what we did was we got together as Syracuse alumni in a group chat, started off as Syracuse Orange Captains, right, with a little orange emoji. And we were like, hey, what are we going to do, right? our program, we haven't made a statement yet. We didn't put out a statement. So like, what are we going to do? And we have some lawyers in the group. One guy went to Harvard, one guy went to New England School of Law, and one of them works at the NFL now, which is nice. You know, we're on some of the same Zoom calls. And so we're like, yo, we got to get something done. Like, this is going to be our us getting back to our community. One, the Black community. Two, the Syracuse community. So we made a statement, a joint statement as a Syracuse alumni. We got all the big dogs to hop on and sign the petition. Like, hey, we want to make a statement. We did that, and it caught traction. The newspapers like, hey, what did y'all do? What do y'all have going on? And so now, speed y'all up from then to now, we have a weekly diversity and inclusion call, alumni call, where we are creating hopefully a mentorship program for some of the athletes, not some of the athletes, all the athletes at Syracuse University, to make sure that they're equipped with the proper tools, right? The proper knowledge, proper wisdom to navigate the college space, to navigate, just everything that can be thrown at them. Because when George Floyd did die, they were like, yo, we don't know what to do. And so we were like, okay, we got to change this. So now we're hopefully can establish some type of communication with those athletes, like I said, so they can be equipped.
It's powerful. It's powerful. And I think it's powerful because while it started with, just a small group chat, as you mentioned, what that ultimately turned into, the ripple effects, man, we're still feeling it today and will in the future. So I have to commend you, for your efforts, but there's still more work to be done, right? And I think if anything, 2020 has taught us is the power of our voice, right? And so for you to leverage that, I think it's so powerful. I just want to commend you on that. And going into 2021, despite the challenges that we're still facing, whether it be with things happening, in America, or still battling the challenges of COVID, man, what's one thing you're excited about this year in 2021 coming down the pipeline?
Well, I know we touched on it before, but I mean, the Bucs are the Super Bowl. Like, that's a plus right there. And then, that's a plus. And also being able to partner with Troy and Tommy. They have a nonprofit called Vincent Country. And so I have a media company, Heartwork Media. And so I'm able to partner with them and cover the photo and video services. That's why I created my media company, to help others tell their story. So it's low-key a dream come true, man. You know what I mean? To not only work at the NFL, but also, service the NFL in a different capacity through, through a company that I created. And so I think that's really cool, man. And moving forward too, being from California, like, the goal is to get back to Cali. So however we can make that happen, that's the move. I know the NFL are, relocating offices that way. So, I'm this NFL Legends Development Program, and it's 6 months long. So hopefully I can get it extended or some type of full-time opportunity where it would be in California. I can go back to my homeland and make it happen, or whatever opportunities that do pop up there, right? But really excited about that.
Yeah, and then just briefly to build off of that one, that is very exciting. But for those who may not be as familiar with the NFL or just how league offices work, what verticals or departments have you had the chance just to get exposure to, work with, collaborate with, whatever it may be? Would love just for the audience to better understand the structure of the league office.
Yeah, so they are different, like you said, different verticals within that office. And so football operations is a big part of it. And I've had a chance to work with some of the sponsorship team, right? Sponsorship partnership team. And I think that's really cool, because at the end of the day, or like the new business team, for an example, one of the guys, Naneo, he's a rock star there, but he explained it like this. He said, the new business and the partnership sponsorship team are like the tip of the spear, right, of the NFL. So whenever people do go see, or the NFL want to hear about a new business or a possible partner, they are using the whole arsenal that the NFL brings to, supply a service. So I think that's really cool. And I had a chance to sit down and talk to those folks. And also to some of the data group, right? The data group that does like the next gen stats, the Amazon next gen stats. I think that stuff is really cool. Looking to innovate, change, the game in general, whether it be stuff on the sideline, whether it be helmets or whatever it is. So those things have been really cool. But my favorite so far has been speaking to the new business team, the sponsorship team, to see how they operate, to see how they move. But like I said, I'm like you said, I'm in the player marketing communications group, and at the end of the day, when people do look at the NFL and the players, how are they marketed? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And so we're taking lead on that, and it's been really cool. It's been really cool.
Well, no, that's awesome. That is awesome. And final question for you, Cam. I know you mentioned you're excited about Tampa Bay being in the Super Bowl, but we got to know, what is your Super Bowl pick? Who is going to win, and what is your score that you're predicting?
So, I mean, you got Tom Brady, Jared. You can't
say less. We'll shut it down after that. You heard it here first.
Man, one thing I learned about that is when Tom Brady's playing, don't bet against him. You know what I mean? When he beat the Falcons, when he was down 21 points, I was like, okay, I'm never going to turn a game off at the last four, or count a game out at the last 4 minutes of a game ever again because of Tom. But yeah, man, he's something different. And, growing up, I'm a LA guy, born in California. So, you got the Lakers, you got the Rams, you know what I mean? And so Tom Brady, I played against him. So for me, I'm like Tom, like he's the GOAT. But, I respect him. Like, I don't like him because I'm playing against him. But now that he brought the team that I played for to the Super Bowl, it's like, Tom, I think I love you, my guy.
No, I hear you. I agree. And honestly, last question what was it like for you to play against an individual of that caliber in Tom Brady? And what do you think of, just today's player and how the game has continued to evolve?
Man, when we played against the Patriots, I remember some of the linebackers in our group, we were calling teammates that we used to have or on other teams that played the Patriots, were like, yo, how do we do it? Give us some help, you know what I mean? And so we found some success with that, but of course he won, he beat us that game. But it's playing against guys with that caliber is definitely different. And even a guy like Tyreek Hill or Patrick Mahomes, like I remember, playing on the punt team, I'm on the right side of the punt team and we're punting the ball to the boundary, which is on my left side. Mm-hmm. Making the reason why you do that is because of fast guys like that. You want to pin them down so your group can engulf and tackle them. Tyreek Hill catches the ball, and I'm on the right side now. He catches the ball, and as soon as I saw that he was going to be able to catch it without somebody tackling him early, I was like, okay, let me just head that way because I know as soon as we get down there, he will be there. So thankfully we tackled him, we got him down, but just playing against real speed like that, world-class talent like that is just mind-blowing.
You got to stop the vertical return on that punt return, and you got to cut them off at the angle. So I'm totally with you. I am totally with you, man. And believe me, I know that I made my money on special teams. Understood, man. Understood. But Cameron, genuinely appreciate the time, and this has been phenomenal. Like I said, humbled that you've been a part of our community. Really, really grateful that you were able to join us today, albeit virtually. Would love to get in person here one of these days soon. But until then, man, thank you for your time.